Hi, thanks for tuning in. This is a weekend review for the week ending May 12th, 2023. We're looking at a weekly chart of the S&P 500. Nothing has changed in nearly 6 weeks now. I mean, on March 27th, price closed at 409. This week, price closed at 411. You basically have 6 weeks of nothing. Yeah, and if you look at the momentum, which always gives us some clues, we're just contracting. So it's just getting tighter and tighter and tighter ever since this October low. You put in this contracting range, and you do have the 50 crossed above the 200, and all the moving averages are generally where they need to be. And let's just zoom out to the monthly. And trying to capture the 20 period monthly moving average. That's what's going on. And if you go around, some are already doing that. Qs have already done it. SMH have already done it. But IWM is nowhere near where it needs to be. It's riding the 80-month moving average, and the 20-month moving average is sloping down, while the transports looks eerily similar. So SMH continues to lead, QQQ continues to lead. Those are the only two worth owning. SPY is doing nothing, and IWM is underperforming. I do believe that this is starting to look something more and more like this. There's just not a lot she can do about it. And until this resolves, until this pattern resolves, IWM is a complete waste of time and money. Once this pattern resolves somewhere out here in time, maybe at the end of this year, who knows, maybe January effect of next year is when this thing's going to be ready to roll. But this thing is not ready to roll. And this is really all she does. If you go back here and look at 2015, she's just ABC, ABC, and now you're getting an even bigger ABC. So 3 corrections going back to 2015. So yeah, we'll just keep moving along here and see if there's anything else I wanted to point out in SPY. I mean, really, the structure that I'm watching here is something like this. And the other possibility is that this is your 1 and this is your 2, and now we're starting the 3. So either way, the point I'm trying to bring up is any dip back into this blue line here on the weekly is a strong buy. So 395 to 380, all the way down to the 200 again here. And that is true on all of these moving averages, but I will point out that the QQQs and SMHs are already in trend mode on the weekly. I mean, you can see that. I'll point out here. So this cross here, this EMA 5, SMA 10, that cross there, we've been in trend mode ever since, and ADX has been rising. PPO histogram positive. I mean, this is a nice little angle of attack. It's not super steep, right? So this is a sustainable angle of attack. So that's really all I wanted to point out with equities. The bond market, there's nothing here. There is nothing here. So avoid. Gold is very interesting. We've been talking about this one for a long time now. I think this is something that you've got to continue to watch very closely and do not lose sight of. But above 195, this thing's gone. And you will have a nice little breakout here on the quarterly, monthly chart. So this is something I'm watching. The momentum here is telling me that this is real. However, you do have divergences. So each one of these highs has been met with a lower high in momentum. This thing could roll over. So again, I'm not convinced that this is a breakout until we spend a lot of time above, let's just call it 195. And now let's take a look at the dollar, and then we'll look at some individual stocks. So the dollar here came back to the monthly 20, which is what we were looking for. It's starting to rally, but really appears to be range bound, stuck inside this big box. I expect the dollar to come back to the top of this range before ultimately going lower. and as a result, we'll drag down Bitcoin and everything else that's correlated. So Bitcoin and gold. If you look here at Bitcoin, the weekly has a potential ABC into a rising weekly 20, but at the same time, we do have PPO looking like a little roll here. Histogram almost negative. It's still positive, so there's no official sell signal yet. I mean, if you just use the histogram buy sell signals, you'd be buying here, and there's no reason to sell yet. Okay, so and you would have sold way up here with no reason to buy yet, right? This is when the histogram flipped negative. Way back here at 60,000, it flipped positive right here at 18K. Okay, so that's essentially just one signal that you can look at. There's a whole bunch of them, and when you combine them, you can kind of get a better picture. But looking at Bitcoin, we're really just stuck. And if let's just make this a channel, right? If this were a channel, we're at the top or we're stuck here. Let's just go all the way to top. We're stuck in the middle, right? Either way, you want to buy at the bottom of the channel, okay? So in my book, this thing just needs more time. That being said, the momentum here on the daily has gone negative and is accelerating lower. And if it doesn't flip up and hold this here, if this sets a higher low in price but a lower low in momentum, it is certainly a sign that the character of this daily chart has changed. And if you look at the long time frame here for the Bitcoins, for the Bitcoin bulls, we just pulled back into the 50, which has been a great place to add for quite a long time. But really, you got to get above the 20. We did get the 510 bull cross, so this is very good. This is the first step. Histogram is still negative and has been negative since back here. So if you're just playing this histogram game on the monthly, there was the buy signal. Here was the sell signal right here. Okay, we don't have the buy signal yet, the monthly time frame. All right, wraps up Bitcoin. Let's take a look at NVIDIA, my favorite chart. Number one holding. We'll get rid of a lot of this. So this has given the buy signal on the monthly. ADX is above 30 and rising with PPO. Histogram is positive now for 3 months in a row. This has given the buy signal on the longest time frame. Has come to the bottom of this channel, has rallied now basically to the middle of the channel. Okay, this is all very, very good stuff. Looking at the weekly, the histogram here is still very positive. PPO kind of rolling over. And what's interesting here is that this high here was set. If she comes up and sets a new high relative to earnings and then sells off, you will have that divergent high that you tend to look for a major top. That being said, we do not have a sell signal yet. Let's take all this we're looking for a wave 3 high, right? Here's your wave 1, wave 2 pullback. Now we're in this wave 3 move. And if you take a look at it, we can start to count the corrective moves. 1, 2 corrective moves already. And that being the case, starting to go inside here basically since March. So it's like if you look at the March high, we've gone nowhere in 2 months. But the EMA 5, SMA 10 signal that I love to look at here, I mean, this thing gave a buy right here, and it's just continued to tell you to remain long on the weekly and monthly time frame. And if you zoom into the daily, it's just a big flag. So again, watching this name continue to add on dips. Crocs I still like sitting here at the bottom of this channel. I'm looking for this guy to actually come and hit the 200, and that'll be your chance to add Crocs. Absolutely a must add if you can. And so just to summarize here, QQQ, SMH are the leaders. Avoid IWM, avoid IYT. There is no signal to go long in gold yet. We don't have that. Let's take a look at some of the intermarket analysis, right? So SPY versus TLT, it's still telling me favor equities. SPY versus gold, sitting at the 200, so no clear direction here, basically since March of 2022. Same price in this ratio. So this one will be very interesting to see which direction it breaks in SPY versus the dollar. This pattern here looks a lot like the SPY chart, a big move up, and then kind of just this corrective range since. So again, just watching to see if we have a flight to safety into any of the three defensive asset classes, whether it's gold, bonds, or the dollar cash. We don't care. We just want to see if that's happening. And if you look at, the ratios that we've talked about before, it's like IWM is just dramatically underperforming QQQ. So if you were to allocate into equities, it makes sense to allocate into IWM and SMH as they are performing the best. So that being said, that pretty much sums up everything I wanted to talk about in this week's video. I think we could take a look at Riot, which is a Bitcoin proxy for those interested. Still pulling back to the 50. Momentum hasn't hit 0 yet. Shop I like a lot. If you look, the very, very large base here. Okay, and so now we're starting to pull back. Any pull, but this is a power earnings gap. This could be a breakaway gap. So a pullback here into the 10 is generally a very, very good buy signal. Looking for price to come up here to 77, maybe $80. And this was the correction, running flat. Okay, so here's your 1, here's your 2, and we're in wave 3. So if that's the case, this thing should have a lot more left in the tank. And really, what are we looking for? We're looking for a 50% retrace of this move lower, which gives 99 as the profit target, almost a double from current price. Shack looks very similar to Shop, just a couple more names to add to the list. We were playing ENPH. I'm looking for ENPH down here, just a little bit lower, maybe monthly 50 is in play. We will have to see. But this momentum is just screaming lower, so she's just not ready yet. And that's all I got. So if you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next week.